Welcome to the Hole in the Wall Business Podcast with Bill and James. I'm James Groves, and along with my business partner, Bill Dement, we want to share our journey as small business owners with you. As owners of Hole in the Wall drywall repair, we will attempt to peel back the curtain of owning a small business in the trade service industry and talk about the many adventures of owning a small business. Hey, Bill.
James, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Every time I hear that, I think there are many adventures in owning a small business, isn't there?
Never-ending adventures. It's kind of fun, though, as long as they're not painful.
It is good fun.
It is good fun. I think that one of the things that we kind of want to just jump right in is we talk a lot about just kind of making sure we are increasing our close rate and making sure that we are like getting the right fit into our sales funnel. And there's all kinds of cool things that we're working with Sean Leiden on.
Yeah.
But one of the things that every person that owns a business has is eventually you're going to have some sort of pricing objection, right? So I thought it might be cool to kind of talk through how do you handle a price objection, but do it without actually having to discount.
Yeah, and if I can, I just want to jump in here really quick. Pricing is one of a multiple of factors that should get business for you.
Yes.
But it's almost the lowest common denominator because every kid, every person who starts a business knows if I'm the lowest price, I may not get the job, but at least I'm going to get a look.
Right.
People are going to look at me for price, you know. And we talk about this. I'd love to tell this story all the time. I brought it from college, paid good money for it. But every business is in business because it has what they call an advantage. People come to your door and they buy from you because you have something different. For instance, Walmart, always the lowest price, always, right? That's even their saying. So you can go to Walmart and you can buy 2 liters of Dr. Pepper for $1.50 nowadays.
Right.
And they sell a lot of it because they're the lowest price. But you know what? Every day people go to 7-Eleven and buy that same 2 liters and they'll pay $3 for it.
Shoot, you can buy a 16 ounce for $2.50.
Oh, it's so true.
Yeah.
Because 7-Eleven has an advantage also, and their advantage is convenience. Oh, I just happen to be here. I don't have to drive all the way over to Walmart to get the lowest price and go through all that melee, the parking lot. I can just pull into 7-Eleven and get what I want. So pricing is an easy thing for people, and they almost automatically understand it.
Sure.
If I'm the lowest price, I will at least get some attention.
But there's something to be said about convenience, something to be said about
Quality and
value.
value.
I mean, I can make coffee. I make coffee at home every day. It's wonderful. But somehow Starbucks still stays in business because they offer a different offering. They offer good convenience. And so it's important that we figure out, though, you have to kind of know yourself and you got to have to know your value. And so I kind of want to talk through that because when you have pricing objections, you know, every owner faces it. You're going to hear things like, you know, well, that's a little more than we're expecting, you know, or can you do better on price? Like my words are, can you sharpen your pencil?
Right.
You know, well, we're getting a lower quote somewhere else, right? And these are all great objection points.
And they're not necessarily dishonest to say we got a lower quote somewhere else.
Yeah. And listen, we all want a lower price. And our natural reaction is, okay, well, we want to win this job. So, you know what, I can come down $100 or whatever. So we can discount the price. But I would argue that that's actually detrimental in the long run for you.
It absolutely can be.
Yeah, because discounting, it quietly erodes your business over time. It impacts your profitability, obviously, because you're doing it for less than it's worth. But it also changes the type of clients you attract. You know, do you want the person who's only looking for price? I'll tell you, there are people out there, home flippers, they're wonderful people. But they always want the cheapest price.
Yeah. And then also you're going to weaken your perceived value every time you drop the price.
Yeah. So the goal is we want to handle these pricing objections in a way that protects our value while we're still giving a strong chance to actually win that business.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Pricing objections aren't always about price, right?
What is that?
I know.
Is that true?
You would think so.
Let's dig in on that just a minute. So what do you think would be not about price? What other kinds of things?
I believe it's lack of clarity. Do they even know what you're offering? I mean, especially in our field, people go to Walmart or to Home Depot and drywall is $15 a sheet, you know, $18 a sheet. Well, drywall's only $18 a sheet. Why is it going to cost me $600?
The engineers will tell you that, won't they? They'll break it right down for you.
I remember one time, it's hysterical. I sent an estimate, and then the guy literally sends back a drawing of, okay, well, I know the cost of materials are this, and I know you're going to add a markup on this, and you're probably paying your employees X number of dollars an hour, so you got to do a markup. So by my calculations, the cost should be here, and you're double that price. I don't get it. It's like, okay, but he was not the right fit for us.
Yes.
Because we're not bringing material and labor. We're bringing 15 years of experience and know-how.
Well, and then there's other underlying costs too. I have insurance on those guys. I have a vehicle they drive. I have
the shirts they wear are logoed.
Fuel, and
I mean, our insurance costs are through the roof. The average customer doesn't know that. So
Right.
I think lack of clarity in many ways. We'll talk kind of what that means here in a little bit. And like we said earlier, they maybe have a lower bid. So they're comparing you to somebody. Well, are they comparing the exact same job scope?
that's the issue right there. Is it apples to apples?
And what kind of caliber is it? Are you talking to Mr. Jones, who is a a weekend warrior handyman kind of guy, or are you talking to a company like us who's protecting you, the homeowner? Because if Mr. Jones gets hurt on your property, he's going after your homeowner's insurance versus we have workers' comp.
Yeah. And sometimes there's a customer will have an uncertainty about the results. What's this going to look like at the end of this? So these are all the reasons that a customer, or some of them, not all of them, obviously, but these are some big reasons why customers might be looking for a discount on price.
Yeah, and they might have just the wrong perception of what it should cost. Like, well, why do you think it should cost that number? Well, it just means it's drywall. So
Well, the insight here is, though, that just lowering your prices doesn't even fix these issues. It just makes you cheaper.
yeah, they still have
They
the
still have
wrong,
uncertainty. They still have a
wrong opinion.
comparison. They still may have lack of clarity. So lowering the price doesn't even address any of those.
Yep, absolutely. What discounting actually does, as more than reduce our profit, it does lower the perceived value of yourself or your company.
I absolutely agree with that statement.
Yeah, we've always said that we don't want to be the cheapest. We just want to be the best.
Well, we want the best value.
The best value.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's important because when somebody comes to your house, you want to make sure that they're background checked. You want to make sure that they're yes, ma'am, yes, sir. They're kind of clean cut, wearing uniform shirts, that you trust who they are, as opposed to just kind of fly by night that doesn't honor their word.
Right.
I'll be there at 9 o'clock. That means we'll be there at 9 o'clock. Right. But that comes with a cost.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about discounting. Does more than just reducing profit, right? So there's some other hits that you might take, including lowering perceived value.
Right.
If you're willing to discount, then they go, well, maybe you were just overinflated and you're not really all that good anyway.
Yeah. It's like the company that's always offering a sale. It's like 40% off. It's like, you're telling me you can lose 40% on that product, and they always have the same sale, then okay, well, you're just an overpriced company.
Yeah. And
listen, we have to train our customers. We have to be able to kind of like just bring them to our way of thinking. Sometimes they won't happen, but if we can train them to like, hey, there is a value in this.
Yeah.
Then that allows them to kind of be on your wavelength more. And when you lower your price, you're only attracting people who are focused on price, and we don't necessarily want to, those are what we call a bottom feeder, just the people who I'll do it for super cheap. That's the side work hustle. That's, someone who's just starting out.
Yeah. Well, and based on the way Hole in the Wall is built, we are sometimes the lowest provider. That we because of our systems and our process, the way that we approach the work, sometimes we are the cheapest. Most of the time not.
Right.
But sometimes we are.
And that's okay, But when you lower your price, it really creates an inconsistency in the market.
Right.
We actually have friends that do drywall repair in our region, and we purposely let them understand, here's what our pricing is. Don't undervalue yourself. Let's elevate the entire market in our region.
Yeah.
How do we get better results then? Right. So when someone says, hey, can you sharpen your pencil? Well, I would say, well, why don't you pause for a second and ask a question. Ask a clarifying question. Say something like, can you share what you were actually expecting?
Oh, that's beautiful.
What gives you the idea that my price is high? And at what point are you, well, I saw a guy, I went to Home Advisor and they said this should cost X number of dollars.
Right. Or my gut feeling is. Or I had it done 25 years ago and.
Right. That happens quite a bit. And that gives you a chance to kind of understand where they're thinking. And a chance to then educate. You can start reinforcing your value, explaining the years of experience that you have, explaining that the processes you have guarantee them that, like for us, that their house will be put back cleaner than it was when
Right.
we get there, you know?
Well, we actually find that a lot, that people don't actually understand what the process is. They think you're just going to come in and do a repair. But we always follow the 3 C's. So the first thing we have to do is cover. And I know good and well, depending on the job, some days we'll spend half a day to a full day just covering things up before any work is getting done to avoid destroying that customer's home. If that customer doesn't understand that, then they don't have a perceived value for it. So that's, explaining your process is really critical. Wait, we need to move these items out of the way.
Right.
Oh, I thought maybe you could go ahead and do it with all this furnishings in here. No, we have to actually be able to access the wall, the ceiling, whatever it is we're working on. We call it contents manipulation. Sometimes we have to move things out of the way. And then when we're done, we have to move them back.
Yeah, and explaining that process, it brings them more clarity. Like, oh, okay.
And I've actually explained that a couple of times, and the customer was like, oh, that's cool. I thought I was going to need to move everything out and everything back.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And, let them know what the results are going to be. And when it's all said and done, just so you know, you won't see that damage, or this problem will be resolved for you, whatever your business model is.
Right, and with a 1-year warranty.
With a 1-year warranty, right? So it's a chance to kind of explain the entire process, explain your value, and then take a second to reframe the conversation, shift it away from pricing, and move it towards the outcome.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Sean Lydon always talks about, our sales coach here, that he's been on the podcast a number of times, or Podcast 111 is his first podcast.
Okay.
So don't even say the word cost or price. Say investment.
He always uses investment.
He always uses investment. Does this investment align with what you were thinking? And, especially for us, you're in some sort of home renovation. This is their home typically, and this is their largest investment. And so it does kind of reframe that conversation a little bit.
Yeah, agreed.
And you can always just adjust your scope. If we're not going to align, like this job's going to cost $2,000, but you only thought it was going to be $1,500, right? Well, then let's just change the scope of the job. You know what? Maybe we won't do this portion of the job this time. We'll do it in phases.
Well, and sometimes a customer has budgeted an amount, and they're willing to spend good money, but they just only have this much to spend at this moment.
Right.
And I like that approach. Like, let's just do this phase, and then after you save up some more, we can come back and finish up.
Right.
Something else.
And when you use these approaches, it kind of maintains your value while still helping move the conversation forward.
Right.
And educating your customer, you may land that deal a lot easier, a lot better.
Well, and then as you're delivering that price, you want to do it with confidence, because confidence in your pricing is going to build trust.
Yeah.
And we were joking about this a little bit in the pre-show, but I have a son who's very confident in things he likes to share and say, and he's usually spot on. But once in a while, you're really confident about that. But is that actual facts, or that's your best guess, and you're just selling it with confidence?
Yeah. There's a funny bit I heard one time. It's a comedian saying, you realize that opinions are that facts are 87% made up. It's like, if you say something with confidence, listen, here's the thing. You are the expert in your field. This is your business. This is your job.
Yeah.
You're the expert, not the customer. You do this every day. The customer may have done it in the past, and they can do their own work, but you're the expert. So why not be confident about it? If someone has a price objection, you're like, well, I don't know. Let me, all of a sudden you start wishy-washiness.
Yeah, listen, if you hesitate, that customer is going to push back.
Absolutely, right away. So you're not even confident in your own skills. Aha.
So you want to maintain that confidence, because they're going to feel more comfortable with what you're saying, what you're offering. You're more believable.
Yeah. I love when you walk in to do an estimate. One of the things that when I shadowed you the first couple times, you would let the customer just vent. They just because listen, they've had something happen in their home that caused this damage. And you walk through the home, you don't rush them, you just let them vent. Oh my gosh, the dog chewed the thing, and oh my gosh, I had a water leak over here. And when it's all said and done, you say, the good news is this is all fixable.
Yeah.
Right.
Anything can be repaired.
Anything can be repaired. And you have a confidence about it, and there's a calmness in your voice that really puts the customer at ease.
Right.
At that point, it's less about price and more about making their house whole again.
Well, and I want to point out, not every customer is going to be a right fit. If they are strictly for the lowest price and you can't find alignment between their need and what your service is, they're probably not the right customer for you.
Yeah.
And there are other reasons they may not be a right fit too. We've had some that were racist. I know you fired one or two customers like that in the past. And sometimes you can tell a customer is going to be unnaturally overly picky.
Yeah, they have a false expectation of the outcome.
And they will never be satisfied, and they will allow you to come back and redo the job 3, 4, 5, 6 times and never be satisfied with it. So we want to try to sniff those guys out and just weed them out before we ever get involved with them.
Yeah, I'll tell you just a quick story, a couple stories. It's I had a gentleman, and we had a very pleasant conversation with him. I probably talked to him on the phone over the course of a week for about an hour. Just aligning the job, working the estimate, kind of making the scope is right. And the day before we're to go to his house to do the job, he calls me up, and this was a different person. Like, it was a completely different person. And he's like, I don't want none of them Spanish speakers in my house.
Oh, I remember this guy, yeah.
And I'm like, what do you mean? He says, I don't want no one to speak Spanish in my house. And he started and I want your dirty trucks on the street, not in my driveway. And he was making all these huge demands. And I'm like, well, listen, we have people that work for us that do speak Spanish, but they also speak English. Well, I don't want them speaking Spanish in my house. He was really belligerent about it. And after about 5 minutes of this conversation, I realized that there's no way in this world I'm going to let any of my employees step foot in this guy's house. That's nothing but a problem waiting to happen.
Oh, you better fire that customer.
So I very calmly said, sir, I don't believe we are the right fit for you. I really wish you well in finding the proper company for you. We will not be showing up to do your job.
He was surprised, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was like, what? You don't want my money? Sir, I just don't feel we're a good fit. And then click, hung up the phone, and had to fire that customer.
Yeah.
Listen, we've been to job site. I remember when Mike Tercey walked into a job site one time. Here's the job scope over here. We're going to fix this area. Fine, great. And he started covering from the doorway all the way to the job site. And during the process, she's like, oh, by the way, I want you to fix this over here as well, some additional work. And he said, okay, well, that wasn't in the job scope. I'll get a price from home office. He says, no, you're just here, just fix it. He says, but there'll be an increase in price because the scope's changing. And she's like, how dare you? And she starts getting really upset. He calls me, and he's like, I'm not sure how to handle this lady. She's really starting to be belligerent. And I'm like, all right, I'll take care of it. I called her. I said, hey, I hear you have some more work. She says, yeah. I said, cool. Would you like us to give you a price for that? She says, no, he's just here. He can just fix it. He'll just do it at the same time. I go, that's not how it works. He says, well, I don't understand. I says, I got one question for you. Would you like me to leave the plastic down for you, or should we take it up because we're walking off this job? And she's like, what do you mean? I said, well, I don't think we're going to make you happy. I think it's just better if we just say in part ways here. And he said, well, I got to get it repaired. Just leave the plastic. I said, great. Called up Tercey. You're free from that job.
Yeah.
Move to the next job.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I just don't want our employees being put in a situation like that.
Well, and this leads right into the next thing I want to talk about. Like, chasing every deal can lead to a few bad things, like more stress, particularly like you were just talking about. We could have pressed through with both of those customers you just gave an example on.
Right.
Might have been okay, but there's a pretty good indication both of those deals were coming off the rails.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I was talking with one of our franchisees a little bit ago, and he says, I had to fire a $5,000 customer today, and it was one of the hardest things he ever did. And I go, why'd you do that? He says, because they were saying things that led me to believe that I would never get paid.
Oh, boy.
But the customer's saying things as, well, if it's not done right, I'm not going to pay you. Says, I'm not paying you until you get, until it's 100%. It's like, and he was just started turning very belligerent.
Yeah.
And he was just like, I just said, I think we're not a good fit for you. And he had to move on and fire that customer. And it hurts because guess what? He probably needed that $5,000 job.
Yep.
But that could have been a $15,000 mistake.
Absolutely.
We've had jobs that have backfired on us that we shouldn't have done, and they turned into a big mistake.
Yeah. And costly.
And, it is lowering your margins. We have to make money. I can sit on my couch and do nothing and make $0.
Right.
Why go through the effort of paying employees and not make any money at this job?
That's no good.
We are in this to make some money, right? And then you start developing poor relationships with people. let's focus on the ones that we can win at. Let's focus on the right customers.
Love that. Yeah.
Right? Focus on the place. Listen, build your relationships with trade service partners. Build your relationships with people that align with you, that want to give you good referrals. You know,
Yep.
Maybe it's a company that really just needs quality people. You can negotiate price if you're working for a Tesla or a bigger company. Say, listen, I'll give you a little bit of the haircut, but I'm going to get all your work. That's absolutely a great negotiation.
Yes.
But that's different than, hey, sharpen your pencil. It's a different, they still see your value, but they still have, because they're a business
Yeah.
too.
Or you just owe me one, wink, wink.
Yeah. So I think
Do me a solid.
Do me a solid. And so focus on winning the right customers. Get the
Yeah.
right people in your pipeline.
Yep.
And then be fast to let people go that aren't a good fit for you.
And don't rush to discount.
Yeah. Don't rush it. Pause. Ask clarifying questions. Reinforce your value. Reinforce your process. Reinforce what you bring to the table. And whatever you do it with confidence. You're the expert. Make sure you're the one that they're going to go to because you have all the answers.
It's good stuff right there,
It
James.
really is.
It's good stuff.
Short and sweet, Bill.
Short and sweet, but a really important topic, and one that anybody, particularly in our business, is going to run into on a regular basis. It's great to have an understanding of it. It's great to have a strategy or several strategies to work your way through. But, understand your value, present your value clearly, address questions any customer may have, and present what you have with confidence.
Yeah, I think it's important.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, well, good one. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a good one. We'd like to thank you for listening to the Hole in the Wall Business Podcast with Bill and James. We'd love for you to join our Facebook group and keep the conversation going. If you'd like to learn more about us and our business, check us out at holeinthewall.com. If you'd like to learn more about how to start a Hole in the Wall franchise, go to holeinthewallfranchising.com.